Hello, Tom Levecki here with a quick special edition of the Armchair NBA. Just doing a quick live for everybody. Just want to do, I don't know, just last minute. So I don't know if we're going to have a big crowd, but I just kind of want to review the week and then those on replay. Most of the reason why I'm doing it, because it's a really big week for the channel. And what I do, I want to go through a lot of the stuff that we went through. Which, to be honest with you, it was a crazy week. It was an emotional week. We did a lot of stuff that we normally don't do in terms of guests that we have on, late breaking news, and so forth. So I just want to kind of do a quick review of the week, and then I'll get back to our Sundays. So with that being said, let's kind of start off with the first interview that I had on Monday. And interesting enough is that was the only planned interview for the week. Everything else was on the fly, which kind of made things pretty cool. Was my interview with John Dickie. John Dickie is a world-renowned author, mafia expert, all things Italian culture. He just doesn't cover, Cosa Nostra, but he also covers other things like Italian food, Italian culture, and so forth. So he wrote the book Sicilian Cosa Nostra, which is essentially like the Bible and the go-to book for all things Cosa Nostra. He sent me 2 copies of his latest book, which I'm really excited to read, which is called The Craft. And it's how the Freemasons made the modern world. It's literally, just the quality of this book, the people that comment on his book, just the guy is literally a class act, literally a world-renowned mafia expert. When Matteo Massimo Denaro was, was arrested, European media was the one that they called on him to get his opinion because he's that important. Literally, top 4. I always say the top 4. John Dickie, Antonio Nicaso, who's also on the podcast this week, which we'll get into, and Sergio interviewed him Mobster Zinc. And then finally, my last piece of the puzzle is Roberto Saviano. Okay. Then afterwards, on a few days later, Leonardo Rizzuto was shot. And he's Vito Rizzuto's son. So that's Leonardo Rizzuto there. The late Vito Rizzuto's son was alleged boss of the Rizzuto crime family in Montreal. So there's some shots here. This is where he was shot while driving on 440 in Laval, and it's very clear to me Laval is not part of Montreal. So forgive me for those who I messed that up. And then lastly, I showed the Mercedes getting blown out, and I have my own issues with Mercedes, but that's another discussion. Nick Rizzuto was killed in 2009, and then the father was also killed via a sniper shot. So I got a lot of emails, I got a lot of phone calls. I have a good contact in for Canadian organized crime. And hey, Tom, pleasure to meet you. Thank you. And the fact that you're from New Jersey makes it even better. Italiana. There you go. So, so it looks like, okay, so there's some things that were common in the private messages that I got. They think it's a younger crew. They don't think it's a Calabrian. Well, I've gotten both. They don't think it's a Calabrians because some people believe that Rizzuto Sr., Vito Rizzuto, kind of stamped everybody out. So they think it's either has to do with Desjardins, who's getting out of jail soon, and it might be his way to say, hey, I'm coming out. But he appears to be a dead man walking because, as put in one of the comments, because the Rizzutos seem to reclaim power. I have also heard that it may be outside Italians, or again, it may be, hey, Bong Funk MC. So again, I always say it's one of 3. It's either internal, the Calabrians, or outside in the international consortium who's trying to take over. According to Tony Nicaso, who's a worldwide expert for this kind of stuff, obviously he's an academic, he's not on the street, but according to him, he does not think the Calabrians are involved. He kind of shied away that even Leonardo was in the life, and it may just be an old beef that got resurfaced, and it just happened to be the timing. Mafia has a long memory. So check that out as well. So if you definitely check out the John Dickie interview, that was probably one of my favorite I've ever done, which is not a small feat for me to say. And then Attorney Nicaso came on. The fact that I was able to get him last minute for him to come on, give his contribution, he's a gentleman. The third area that I want to unpack, which is probably the most emotional for the week, Madonna came on. She's Matthew Madonna daughter. So are they Calabrian? Well, Rizzuto is from Ediclano. I forget the name of the town. They're from Sicily. The Rizzutos are from Sicily. They took over from the Catronis, and then allegedly the Calabrians killed Rizzuto's father. Allegedly, the Calabrians killed his son. Some might maybe involved a little bit with the backing and helped squelch Sal, the iron worker who came up from New York in the Bananas. But the Rizzutos are Sicilian. So allegedly he got it back, and Rizzuto's allegedly same to be taking back over. Yeah, Australia is very interesting, and I'm going to do a show on it very soon. So allegedly there are 50 organized crime groups in and around Australia, Adelaide, obviously Sydney and Melbourne. Melbourne, I think, is a hotbed, if I'm wrong, Bang Funk. And of those, like 35 of them are Italian organized crime, and 15 of those 35 are indrangheta or clans that have a link back to Calabria. I don't know. It's very loose. I actually think it's more a straight line versus dotted line. So I think they report definitely back to Calabria. Antonio Nicaso talked about this on the show. Check it out. Check out Antonio Nicaso's interview from earlier this week. And cocaine is going for 350,000 a kilo retail in Australia. Ndrangheta controls that market. But what's keenly interesting about the Ndrangheta in Australia, they're very big on the pill market, the MDMA, and so forth. And they kind of control that market as well, which, as I understood, and I could be categorically wrong, but I didn't know Ndrangheta was big on the pill market. I thought that was, at least from Italy, I thought that was kind of Camorra's jam. They have a link to Syria, a link to ISIS, believe it or not. But Australia, organized crime, especially Ndrangheta, is fascinating to me. Bambi, welcome. I'm just going to do a quick recap of the week, and then we'll all go back on to our days. More like Canada in the sense that they're set up shop. They've been there for like 115 years. I did ask Antonio Nicaso again. I believe that Canada, the Camiso clan in Canada, is obviously very large in terms of importance. I think they also have involvement in the U.S. market. It's just too big to ignore. And the question is, do they kind of report back to the Saderno clan in Calabria? That's something that I will explore. I think it's less looser than you think, but I appreciate it. I do a lot of Ndrangheta Bang Funk. Check it out. I'm yet to do a strictly Australia episode, but I probably will do it soon. Yeah, that's about it. I heard it's about 350 a gram, which is crazy. They buy, I think, directly from the what was it? Either Colombians or Peruvians, and then by way of Kenya, supposedly transship, and then to that's stepped on. Yes. I always knew it was Canada, but no idea the extent. Yeah, that's a lot. Antonio Nicaso actually wrote the book Bad Blood, which was on Netflix. He wrote that book as well. That's what the series is based off of. So it's really, really interesting. I didn't love that series. I thought it could have been much better. Bikers control the distribution. Same thing in Canada and same thing in Australia. Yeah, so much money it's obscene. Yeah, wherever there's money, you'll find these people. So my last interview of the week was with Rosina Madonna, who is Matthew Madonna's daughter. He is in jail. He's not doing well. He's 88 years old, and we talked a little bit about her wanting to raise awareness on his conditions. Again, listen, we're not saying that being a criminal is okay. We're not saying being a mafia is okay. We're not pro-mafia in any way. We just like to call balls and strikes. And if you're 88 years old and you're infirmed and you have COVID, at the bare least, you should be in adequate medical housing. And a lot of people have received compassionate release for COVID. And evidently, he seems to be in bad shape. So I had her on, and I thought it was a really interesting and freaking emotional conversation. Yeah, James, just going through the week. John Dickie, you might like this, James. If you haven't read it already, The Craft by John Dickie, How the Freemasons Made the Modern World. I'm really excited to read this. I have a few books on Audible I got to finish first, and then I'll get to it. I just finished Mastery from Robert Greene, the audiobook of that. That was pretty good. I liked 40 Laws of Power better. That's just me. But I'm really excited about reading John Dickie's Craft. Tony Nicaso, just to rehash, had him on, and then Rosina Madonna on. And it was a really emotional one. She was limited to what she wanted to talk about, but she did share what her feelings were, her emotions, and it was one of the more rawest interviews I've ever done. It was unplanned. It was on the fly, and I urge you guys to check it out. Now, on another note, now I usually wear the Rutgers hat. I get it. I went to Rutgers University in New Jersey, undergraduate. That's where I got my bachelor's degree. But little known fact, I've got my master's degree from Fairleigh Dickinson University, also known as Fairleigh Ridiculous University. It's a small little private school in New Jersey with campuses in Secaucus, which is like the main one, Hackensack, essentially. Not Secaucus, sorry. Hackensack. Secaucus kind of right there. And then in Madison, New Jersey, which is a little closer to me. And that's where I got my MBA. That's got my alma mater. They are complete underdogs. They are not great at basketball. They pretty much beat a number 2 seed and went on. And if they beat FAU today, they actually go on to the Sweet 16. It's insane. They were underdogs by about 23.5, and they won. So can Fairleigh Dickinson make the Sweet 16, which would be insane, first time ever for them. At 7:45 tonight Eastern, I'll be tuning into that. I might throw some money on it too, so we'll see. Yeah, I would highly suggest The Craft. Also, read his book on Sicilian Cosa Nostra, and there's a few other ones that that John Dickie wrote. He's really best of the best. Yeah, those interviews on the fly that are unplanned, which were most of them this week, are the ones that are most interesting. Far Rockaway boys, yo, how are you, sir? Thank you so much. That was freaking amazing and insane. Yes. So we'll see what happens. 7:45 tonight. Fairleigh Dickinson University against FAU. They're still down underdogs by 13.5. On the game they won, they were underdogs by 23.5. So those that don't bet, if you got them, they added 23.5 points to your score. They won the game outright. Some guy put like some money down on it, and they were crazy, crazy odds. And he won like $500,000 with like DraftKings or something because he believed in FDU, which is insane. So it was nice to hear someone fresh on the mob genre. Obviously, she wants her father out, but her father also made a lot of other grandchildren. Yeah, that's the moral, I guess, tug, or the moral push and pull is on one end, you, especially as a father, you want best for your children. Obviously, she's not, doing so great in terms of, how she's doing because she wants to get him out. That's her concern, and she's running into a lot of obstacles. As a daughter, you want the best for your father, and you want to help him any way you can. In this particular case, yeah, it's a tough one. It's like, you've been convicted. What kind of standard of care should you get? Should you be released? I think there still is some mafia / Italian bias and overtone when for the compassionate release, like meaning if I'm person A and I'm not Italian, no mafia affiliation, and I want to get out, they were getting out pretty easily. Versus if you're Italian, even if you're mafia or not, it's kind of like, well, you may be mafia, or you're 88 years old, you could still give orders. Listen, you can still give orders from prison, right? So I don't know. There's something I myself am having a hard time with it. It's really hard for me to morally kind of reconcile. But at the bare minimum, I try to give a platform where everyone can say their speech. Everyone can hear, you could hear their voice. And I might have somebody on that I agree with. I may have somebody that I disagree with, but I always want to be a platform that if it makes sense, we will try to have them on the show. But yeah, that was emotional. Anthony Center's getting out. Jeez. I didn't hear that. That'd be interesting. That'd be a good interview. Please hit the button. Yeah, hit the like button, subscribe. If you want to donate to the channel, you can donate through Super Chat. If you're watching afterwards, thanks button, and then I also have a Cash App listed. I started getting a lot of donations. I got some from PayPal. I got some from Cash App. I forgot to even set up my Cash App. So I don't want to say thank you because I don't know if I'm allowed to. I don't know if it's public. People get weird about that. But there are some people in the chat that have given money. So I just want to say thank you for that. Although most of my show, there aren't a lot of expenses. There's parts of my show that are. And I have some pretty big guests and big things lined up that anything you guys spend goes directly into the show and helps defray the cost and help me do even better things. If I was like making real money on the show, it'd be dangerous who I have on. You guys would like, I have an opportunity for so many guests. And just so you know, it's not as simple as like, oh, they want to get paid to get interviewed. It's not that simple. You may have a manager who says, I have to put a fee on because I need to get paid because they're the manager. They don't work for free. They might only work off of contingency, and that's how they get paid. Number two, I actually have to get a few contracts reviewed by my lawyer because this is a podcast, not a documentary. So some people have restrictions on they can't do any of the documentaries, but they can do a podcast, right? Now, for me, I can do the podcast. So, for example, Senor Escobar, Pablo Escobar's wife, I can't take this content and sell it to a show that's doing a documentary. I can't take this content and even for free and say, hey, use this for a documentary or actually resell it even. Because what some people do is they'll do a big interview and then they'll take that content and sell it to National Geographic or TMZ or whatever. They use it and they run with it. So when I get this contract, I don't want it to be a one-sided contract. So what do? I give to my lawyer $350 an hour. So now, boom, I'm out for $700. So bigger interviews just require a lot more resources. I like to give specifics for those people that are wondering, "Oh, you have so much money. Why are you asking for donations?" Well, these things cost money to do, and I can only go to Hawk so much, right? So, thanks. But we all do dumb stuff. I would probably feel the exact same way if my father was in, but I also feel comfortably understand the plight they go through. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a moral dilemma. Now, yeah, that would be a good one. I have some true, and Bambi, thank you. You've donated as well, so that's appreciated. So yes, I got some things popping up that'll be pretty good for the channel. That I think will escalate in another level. We surpassed 25,000 subs a little while ago. I think we're approaching about 25.8. Let me just check. We gained about 50 subs a day. More when George is working on it. Let me just see. We're at 25,764 as of now. So if you haven't, please subscribe. More than 50% of my viewers are not subscribed. I don't know why. They just don't subscribe. So I have an upside on the subscriptions. If you know somebody who'd be interested in, send them the Sammy interview. Send them the Salvo Arena interview. Send them the Pablo Escobar interview. Send them the John Dickie interview. Send them the Nicaso interview. Send them the Maricina Madonna interview. We have a ton of content that people are interested in and say, hey, if you like this guy, I suggest you subscribe. I'm trying to do more lives, do my best. I've done more lives in the past 2 weeks than I did all year. So I'm really trying to do some good content for you guys. I'm working really hard. And then just to round it out, we're celebrating today. Today is La Festa di Giuseppe, the Feast of St. Joe's. So if you're Joe, any Joes here? I don't know if we have any Joes, but if you have any Joes here, today's the feast, St. Joseph's feast day. In Italy, you celebrate your name day like you do your birthday. And this also doubles back as Father's Day in Italy. So we celebrate name days here for Giuseppe. Little known fact, my son Giuseppe, little known fact, I was born on St. Thomas A. Becket's name day. That's why I'm born. That's why I'm St. Thomas. Well, no, not St. Thomas. Born after St. Thomas A. Becket. And my son's name is Thomas. So I'll be celebrating my birthday and my name day, which is the same day. And we'll also be celebrating my beautiful son's name, Thomas. These are traditions you got to put forward. These are traditions that you got to keep. And today, Giuseppe had what he wanted for dinner last night, what we wanted dinner, a breakfast for this morning, and for our pranzo or lunch, we're gonna do arancini. That's what he wants. I actually got to go to the Pistosas to get half of this stuff because half the stuff that he has, we have to get. Tom, what about Tony Pizza? He's welcome to go hard at me all he wants. Just for example, if he's been going hard at me, it hasn't been any effect, meaning I haven't lost any subs, I haven't gained any subs, other than maybe your comments at first I heard of it. I believe in free speech. Again, this is very, very, very simple. There's a very, very clear line. You can criticize me all you want. You get my family involved or you threaten me, I will take immediate action that will match your action 10x. And I'll leave it at that. So, hello, love. We did an interview yesterday with Agent. Oh, yeah, I watched it actually. It was very good. I watched it, James, and I thought it was excellent. I was a little surprised at some of these things that she said, which were good, like positively. And I felt you guys did a great job. He've always fascinated me, Sonny Francis. I'm pretty friendly with Michael. So I like that. I like that you guys interviewed her. Fantastic job. Check out Lee Cole podcast show with his co-host, who's pretty much on, I think, all the time now. James Proctor. Have a large amount of respect for James. He's a researcher. I consider him to be a strong mobologist. You need guys like this in the space. You just can't have the former wise guys, or you can't have the creators like myself who know a little bit about the history. You need to have the facts, and James does an excellent job on that. So shout out to James for that. Hey, Darren, how are you? Welcome today. I've been promoting yourself. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Bambi. It's an honor and privilege that you're watching, and I really appreciate it. The early release of the COVID is a bunch of BS. Our violent crime rates are going back up. And these catastrophes, Korea, Madonna, God, the rest of the heroin biz guys equal trash. Well, so I don't, JC, I don't know. I know Matthew Madonna was convicted in the past of dealing heroin. I don't think that's public knowledge. I don't know of Korea's involvement in that. And then John Gotti, although, let's be honest, his brother and other people in his crew, I don't know if he had direct involvement. Did he get money from it? What do I know? That I don't know. But I wouldn't characterize Korean Gotti as kind of the heroin biz guys. Probably got money from it, which is just as bad because you're still profiting. But actually, I don't know. I just can't agree fully with that statement, JC, but that's why you have a discussion. You're welcome to agree and or disagree. Let me just see. Okay. Yeah, I don't. That's fine. Guys, it doesn't matter to me. Again, just no threats and keep my family out of it. Outside of that, we're good. I'll do everything and anything to protect my family. I'm not worried about that. My pleasure, James. Okay. I don't call. Again, you're welcome to share your opinion. James is here. James, don't need to defend that your opinion. You're welcome to express your opinion here. I like to have an open forum, and that's more than fine. All right, I think that's it. So we kind of did a quick rundown. Check out the John Dickie interview. If you haven't, like I said, I've just given the latest book, The Craft, on the Freemasons. Interviewed Antonio Nicaso on the Montreal Mob War, which Antonio is not easy to get, and he's an expert in Calabrian and Canadian organized crime. We're seeing the Madonna interview, who kind of makes a plea for her father to get out of jail. Check out FDU for the Sweet 16. And then Oggi alla Festa di San Giuseppe, St. Joseph's Feast. So a sincere, how do I say? I was going to say it in Italian, but a sincere celebrate. So have a great celebratory day with your family. For those that are Joseph, hopefully you eat the St. Joseph's bread. Bring them the sfunghi, which is the Italian pastry for St. Joe's, if not the St. Joe's Epoli. So enjoy that with any Joe you know, even if they're not Italian. Today's St. Joe's Day, And then number two, for those fathers out there, and then especially we're Italian, today's Happy Father's Day in Italy. So enjoy. I feel sorry. Oh, no need to defend me. If somebody shares their opinion on me and criticizes me, I believe in free speech. Free speech, I wholeheartedly believe in. If somebody wants to be critical of me, now, if they lie about me, they lie on me, that's on them, not me. If it's, you can't prove a negative, and if they're telling the truth and they're willing to debate it, they know where to find me. So to go on another channel and kind of like do a whole big thing about me without confronting me directly, I consider a classic move. Didn't you write? He's the one who. That's a little nuanced and complicated, Bill. I would answer that, but it's not very straightforward. Were you surprised how much feedback I got from interviews? Did about 8 days on the stage. Yeah, that was insane. The feedback. Of all the videos I've done in the last probably year, the most feedback I've done were the top 6 reasons why the mob genre failed. And believe it or not, the feedback that I got was all over the board, and the content reactions were all over the board, which I forgot. Please watch not only the top 6 reasons why the genre failed, but watch out my interview watch out my interview with RJ Roger, and he gives his feedback on the top 6 reasons. A lot of things he respectfully disagreed with. We had a little bit of debate on. He shared his reasons why people don't collaborate. He listed reasons why he thought people are not succeeding in the space, why he doesn't often collaborate, and that the RJ Roger video and him and I actually exceeded the views of the actual top 6 video. You probably want to watch a top 6 video first. Watch that first to get the context, and then go into the RJ Roger video. Guys, there's so much content that I put out in these last 2 weeks that, I mean, are really germane to what's going on, real time, not just some historical guy coming on who's irrelevant. John Dickie is one of the best. Tony Nicaso is one of the best. I really recommend you guys check it out. Hey, thank you for my son Giuseppe. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go hang out with him as soon as I could jump off. We had some breakfast together and we had a nice time. Thanks again. Jeff was on recently as well. And Jeff also unpacked the top 6 as well. Was I 100% correct? Yeah, I believe so. I was right on it. Yeah, so. I want to talk podcasts. You're always welcome here. I'm a big fan of your show. I'm a big fan of yours. I just keep an open forum. If people are kind of jumping on you in the chat, I apologize. I don't have a lot of what's that called, wrenches, moderators. So I just I apologize if they're kind of getting on you a little bit. I'm gonna be jumping off in a minute anyway. So just, you're always welcome to come. Don't let other people deter you, in my opinion. The RJ Roger video was awesome. I know he disagreed, but was respectful. That was my exact point. You need to have active disagreement. You need to be able to debate. You need to be able to discuss. And if you want to do it, you should be able to do it without fear of repercussion. Come on, guys. You guys, let's be a little more cordial to each other in the chat, please. I want to talk about your text messages. Okay, well, I'm going to sign off. This is a quick one. Thank you so much for everybody come on. There's a lot of content to catch up on. Please, I'm going to ask for 2 things. 1, please catch up on the content that I mentioned. And then number 2, drop comments below so I know you checked them out. Give your opinion, and I will immediately respond. Happy St. Joe's Day, everybody, for all your Joes. Happy Father's Day to your fathers, and have yourself a fantastic day.